I know writing is largely subjective and it's basically pointless to do a video like this, but I haven't seen anyone else do this, so let me know if you guys like it in the comments. But basically, we're going to be putting two characters up against each other and see who's better written. So before I start, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so I can get to 1K subs. And yeah, without any further delay, it's Shinji Ikari versus Taka Kasuga. Close. Just to clarify, I'm going to be using Shinji from the rebuilds because I just recently watched them and I believe they're better than the original series. Anyway, Shinji Ikari is a very interesting character, although he's probably the most analyzed character in fiction, and that's probably the main reason why I wouldn't make a video solely on Eva. But his character revolves around cycles, as throughout the entire story, he has always had a pattern of his growth. He starts off sad, but then starts to open up more to people around him. But then he gets in his Eva and messes up, and the cycle repeats again. Honestly, it's a great way to build Shinji's character, as it happens that way in the real world. You don't just start off sad and then you're happy forever. It's an infinite cycle of ups and downs. Because Anno chose to write Shinji this way, it makes it all the more beautiful at the end when Shinji finally realizes that life goes in circles and to endure is part of the cruel beauty of life. And I also think the choice to make Mr. Ikari almost exactly like Shinji while having him be the final villain was also bright, because having Mr. Ikari not want any human attachment, yet ultimately getting it in Yui, while Shinji wants it but is scared of it and always gets the love ripped away from him. And then in the end, Gendo gets what he wants originally, a life of solidarity, and Shinji getting the love and validation he's been seeking. While Gendo is unhappy, Shinji is happy. The parallels are elite. It's genius. Oh shoot, my bad. Shinji's relationship with the Evas is very reminiscent of an addiction. I don't know if I'm looking in too deep to this, but hear me out. Every time Shinji needs a solution, he goes to the Eva, but then when something bad happens, he tries to quit. But every time, he always ends up coming back to it, kind of like an addict. If this was intentional, this would make his connection to the Eva even stronger, tying into the themes. If I actually make this into a series, then this would probably be the part where I'd mention the flaws within the character, but I genuinely couldn't come up with any sort of inconsistency within his character without being really nitpicky. So for now, I'll just go on to Kasuga's part. I already mostly talked about Kasuga's character more in depth in my other video, so if you want a more in-depth look at his characters, not just Kasuga, you should go check it out. So here, I'll try to mention things I left out in the video. Anyway, at the beginning of this story, Kasuga's character mainly focuses on his obsession and how he can never take any type of responsibility. Shout out to Vid. The way Oshimi writes Kasuga in the beginning is very similar to Shinji's, as they both use cycles. But what Oshimi does differently is he changes the characters around Kasuga during each cycle. One example of this is when Kasuga felt empty after not going with Nakamura over the mountain. He later finds temporary fulfillment through Nakamura, yet after he does not go to attempt suicide with Nakamura, he finds true fulfillment with Tokiwa. This ties in more of the character's flaws throughout the manga of Abdulmania and reliance on others to fix his inner problems. Focusing on the latter, he has 4 things he relies on throughout the story, that being books, Nanako, Nakamura, and almost Tokiwa. I think all 4 of these things represent some type of love that humanity commonly feels. So the books would be love for material things, Nanako would represent the first love or obsession based off how Kasuga initially idolizes her existence. Nakamura would represent lust because of how destructive their relationship is, and Tokiwa obviously representing the true love. Before we formally put these two head to head, I'd like to clarify what I mean by better written. What I'm mostly looking for is which character more clearly reflects and represents the themes the author is trying to convey through that character. And to help us determine who is better written, I think we should use 3 main attributes that are commonly associated with good writing, and these things don't determine good writing, but they help us understand it better. I think these things should be parallels, relationship with the world, and relationship to the characters. And finally, before I answer the question, just remember that this is my opinion, and writing is highly subjective. Both of these characters are very similar, clearly, as I even compared these two in my previous videos. They both share themes of love and acceptance of guilt, and at the end of the series, they both choose to endure and live life to its fullest. While Shinji's character is shown through parallels through other characters like Gendo Ikari and the Eva pilots, Kasuga parallels come from the comparisons between relationships, such as Kasuga's relationship with Nakamura versus his relationship with Tokiwa. I think because of this, Kasuga does have better parallels simply because compared to Shinji, I feel like Kasuga's parallel serves more purpose to central themes of over-reliance, while Shinji's is more towards showing how everyone is really the same and goes through the same thing. Next, for relationship with the world, I feel like it would be a cop-out answer to say Shinji because it literally causes the third and fourth impact and stops the Humanity Instrumentality project. So if you think about it, Shinji really is the GOAT of the impacts. But I still do think Shinji does take this because Shinji's whole story and life is shaped and affected because of the angels and Eva, while Kasuga is much more affected by the characters in his world rather than how the world functions or how he perceives it. Because if Kasuga never met Nakamura, then I believe he would not have done half the things he did, leading to him never meeting the Tokiwa and probably never coming to the same conclusion as he did at the end of the story. And for those who say taking out someone like Nakamura is unfair to Kasuga, if we take away Gendo and what Gendo does to the story emotionally was, Shinji might not become the same character, but I feel as if he would be closer to the same character than, unlike someone like Kasuga, whose whole character arc really starts due to Nakamura. Plus, it helps for Shinji that he literally changed the world single-handedly multiple times. And finally, for relation to characters, Kasuga and Shinji both heavily affected and are affected by the characters in the show. Shinji hurts Masato after the third impact, and Kasuga hurts Nanako after the mountain incident. And while it's easier to say, because The Flowers of Evil has a smaller cast of characters, Kasuga affects less characters than what Shinji did, meaning that Shinji solos, but I feel like that kind of thinking won't lead us to anywhere. So what I'm looking for is more of the quality of the relationships. And again, I think Kasuga takes. I think most of Kasuga's entire character was affected by Nakamura and then later Tokiwa. And while yes, Shinji's life is also very affected by Gendo and other characters, I think the deciding factor is how Kasuga's changed other people's lives. He changed 3 people's lives drastically, including his parents, who admittedly weren't really explored in the manga, but we could still see how Kasuga's actions affected them. This is no diss to Shinji, but compared to how violently Kasuga affected others, Shinji did not affect others as much as Kasuga. The only person on par with Kasuga that Shinji affected was really Rei. So all in all, I believe Kasuga is a better written character than Shinji. And yes, it is very, very, very close, and I think anyone could make a valid argument for Shinji, but this is just what I think. Again, the concepts I use to judge aren't the only things that make a character well written. It's just some of the most prominent ones in my opinion. I know this video was largely pointless, but I wanted to make a fun video about 2 characters I really enjoyed. Plus, there was no media I watched this week that I deemed good enough for a whole video, so I just did Eva because I had recently finished the rebuilds last week. Anyway, leave your opinions down in the comments and like and sub. Yeah, peace.